Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to Ma and me, just this old guitar and a bottle of booze. Now I don't blame him because he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left he went and named me Sue. Well, he must have thought it was quite a joke, and I got lots of laughs from a lot of folks. It seemed I had to fight my whole life through. Some gal would giggle and I'd get red, and some guy would laugh and I'd bust his head. I tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick and I grew up mean. My fists got hard and my wits got keen. Roamed from town to town to hide my shame. But I made a vow to the moon and the stars. I'd search the honky-tonks and bars and kill that man that gave me that awful name. But it was Gatlinburg in mid-July, and I had just hit town and my throat was dry. I thought I'd stop and have myself a brew at an old saloon in a street of mud, and at a table dealing studs sat the dirty, mangy dog that named me Sue. Well, I knew that snake was my own sweet dad, from a worn-out picture that my mother had. And I knew the scar on his cheek and his evil eye. He was big and bent and gray and old, and I looked at him and my blood ran cold. And I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do? Now you're gonna die." Yeah, that's what I told him. Well, I hit him right between the eyes, and he went down, but my surprise he came up with a knife and cut off a piece of my ear, but I busted a chair right across his teeth, and we crashed through the wall and into the streets, kicking and gouging in the mud and the blood and the beer. I tell you, I fought tougher men, but I really can't remember when. He kicked like a mule and bit like a crocodile. I heard him laughing, and I heard him cussing. He went for his gun, and I pulled mine first. He stood there looking at me, and I saw him smile. And he said, "Son, this world is rough, and if a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough, and I knew I wouldn't be there to help you along. So I gave you that name, and I said goodbye. I knew you'd have to get tough or die, and it's that name that helped make you strong." "Yeah," he said. "Now you have just fought one hell of a fight, and I know you hate me, and you've got the right to kill me now, and I wouldn't blame you if you do. But you ought to thank me before I die for the gravel in your guts and the spit in your eye, because I'm that nut that named you Sue." Yeah, what could I do? What could I do? I got all choked up and I threw down my gun, called him Pa, and he called me a son, and I came away with a different point of view. And I think about him now and then. Every time I tried, every time I win, and if I ever have a son, I think I'm gonna name him Bill or George. Anything but Sue. The poem is about a boy who holds a grudge against his dad, who basically abandoned him and his mom when he was just a kid, and the only thing he left behind for them was his burden of naming his son Sue, which is a commonly feminine name. He has a tough childhood, and he gets teased a lot everywhere he goes. But because of this, he grows up mean, and he seeks revenge on his dad, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get it. We understand the pain that he feels, because he repeats the fact that his name is Sue at the end of the first 3 stanzas. When he finds his father in the bar, he confronts him and takes out all his anger on him, and challenges him to a fight. In the midst of their fight, his father can't help but smile. He admits that he named his son Sue out of an act of love, because he knew that he wouldn't be there for his son, so he gave him this name so he would grow up strong. He also finishes the poem by saying that he would never name his son Sue, because he doesn't want him to live the life he did, carrying the shame and embarrassment his father left him with. Even though he forgives his father in the end, he still hates the name. So I think this poem means that you need to learn to deal with whatever life gives you. Do like Sue and fight your whole life through, because you can hate your life all you want, but no matter what happens, there's a reason behind it. Sue was a strong kid for putting up with all the harassment he got from everybody. But he also learned there's no point in holding grudges, because it's just a waste of energy. But at least he faced his dad in the end and learned his true origin. I think that Sue's dad's motives were wrong, but his intentions were good. He maybe could have made his son grow up to be tough by using a different method, but whatever works for him, right? So I chose this poem not because it's my favorite poem, but because I connected with it. Also, I grew up reading Shel Silverstein, and he's a big inspiration to me wanting to become a writer. So I connected with it because, like Sue, my dad also left my family when I was little, and because of it I had a tough childhood, but I'm stronger because of it. So this poem actually taught me a lot. It taught me to just learn to let go and not hold grudges or let other people influence your life. In life, there are going to be things that's going to happen to you that you're not necessarily going to like, and you're just going to have to deal with it and get over it, because that's just the cruel reality of the world. So, Next time you're having a bad day, just remember, there's a boy out there named Sue. So get your shit together.